Just two of them.
And we are live.
Theorizing that one could time travel within his own lifetime, Dr. Samuel Beckett stepped into the quantum leap accelerator and saw that it took a long time getting from there to here. The Fantasmagorium show proudly presents Set to Stun, a Star Trek Day celebration, Enterprise Season 1 Broken Bow?
Broken bow. We said bow earlier today on our show. We messed that up.
I'm Canadian. I mispronounce everything. I would very much like to thank and welcome Antiderivative Jill to the channel and the show. How are you doing today, Jill?
Hello, Scotty. Thank you for having me on today on Star Trek Day. I think this is a great way to spend the evening talking about the Enterprise pilot.
Well, and what is your, and for the people who don't know who you are, who I think are few and far between, what is your experience with Star Trek?
Well, I think it's important to be honest with that. I only truly discovered Star Trek when I was 19 years old. I was procrastinating from doing my homework in the library when I found the original series on CBS.com. And of course, it's not there any longer, but over the course of that year, I watched all of real Star Trek from 1966 to 2005, including the movies. But when I got to Enterprise, I was at a little bit of an impasse. I don't think I was very kind to it at the time.
Nor was I.
Yeah, I didn't realize how great we still had it back then, and didn't appreciate it as much as I should have, including this pilot. I remember being a little lukewarm to it, and I guess just because I'm always very Vulcan-centered, because they're my favorite, and I didn't appreciate the attitude that they were written to have. Even though I did appreciate the actors do a great job. I love Gary Graham. He's awesome.
Well, and it's such an interesting thing to consider a prequel at the time as well. Like we were just sort of in the midst or just after the Star Wars prequel, and no one wanted to see a prequel. We kind of wanted to boldly go instead of looking back.
Right.
And I think that had a lot to do with it. And I remember watching as I've watched every modern Star Trek premiere, I remember watching it the night of, it was on broadcast television, and I was like, no, this is fine.
Well, it is a little jarring to go from that bridge to the TOS bridge in terms of, using our then current technology projected to the future versus what the 60s projected the future to be.
Well, I am looking forward, Steve. Jill. I'm looking forward to continuing, but we do have a few surprises in terms of it being Star Trek Day. There is Star Trek news. We are going to have to wade into the swamp just a touch and see what the news is.
Yeah.
Steve, what was your experience watching the first episode of Enterprise?
I remember being pretty excited about the show. I had heard that I was already a huge Star Trek fan. Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager. And then I remember being very excited about it and loving it and it seemed like all my friends that were Star Trek fans hated it. They didn't hate it, but they didn't like it. They didn't think it lived up to the other three. And I didn't feel that way. I really liked it. I was like, I was a huge Quantum Leap fan, so Scott Bakula I loved him as Captain Archer. I hadn't seen or heard of Connor Trinneer yet as Trip or any of the other cast, really. I knew Gary Graham and a couple of other bit players, but so I was hooked right away. So I've always been a fan of this and kind of kind of defender of Enterprise. Now I know it lost a lot of people because of I think they took a little too long with the Zindi,
Hmm.
and there's like just a little bit using a whole season, almost maybe a little longer than the season to tell that arc. I think turned off a lot of people, but it's unfortunate because I think the show actually really got going in its last season,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
if we could have gone, I think if we could have gone maybe take the first two seasons, amalgamate them into one season, and then skip to the last season and go from there, that would have been very exciting to see. But
Yeah, Enterprise was canceled before, just as it was getting good.
yeah, yeah, it's unfortunate. I would have liked to see Enterprise get a full 7 season run like the other series did, but yeah, that was kind of my first experience. I really liked it out of the gate. I've never been one that had a problem with prequels going backwards. That's why I like reading books and stuff. So that never bothered me. New stories, I always like new stories. New stories well told. That's all I want. Good stories well told.
Me
Agreed.
too, but I found some problems with this script. A lot of the scenes were kind of not really didn't really push forward the story that well, and it was a little bit of a slog. But I did enjoy the characters and the way it looked. And the sets were really cool. But
Well, Jill, before we get to the episode proper, if you'll indulge
sure,
us,
okay.
there has been some news out of the Paramount Plus in regards to Star Trek Day.
It is Star Trek Day, and we did have some news done. Not major news, but news nonetheless. And so we're going to do 5 stories real quick. We pulled some
Cool.
quotes and panels. All
Oh,
all the sources are from IGN. IGN has a really good rundown. If you'd like to check them out of what was released. There's some video. There's some sneak peeks and stuff that we can't show here. But so go ahead and go to your favorite online news outlet, and they should have a rundown for you. Like I said, we're using IGN. They had a pretty good wrap up. If you'd like to start, Scott, we can jump right into that.
yeah, I was just hoping. Oh, I just need show me the teleprompter so I can
Boom.
read everything on it.
There we go.
All right, this is Jill's favorite show of all time. It is Star Trek Patrick Stewart.
No.
Season 3. I know this is going to be a hard pill to swallow, but this is the news, lady. Star Trek Picard Season 3 premiere date and teaser revealed. Paramount Plus revealed that the third and final season of Star Trek Picard will premiere on Thursday, February 16th, 2023. This final season will consist of 10 episodes, and new episodes will debut each Thursday. Alongside the premiere date, a brief teaser for. See, so you're telling me how television works? Thank you,
Yes.
Patrick Stewart. They're going
Right.
to have teasers. It gives. It gave us a glimpse at the returning crew members of Star Trek: The Next Generation, including Gates McFadden's Dr. Beverly Crusher, Jonathan Frakes' Commander William Riker, LeVar Burton's Geordie LaForge, Michael Dorn's Worf, and Marina Sirtis's Deanna Troy. The teaser also gave fans a first look at the USS Titan, the starship that will serve our heroes as they venture out on one final mission, and it ended up with Commander Seven of Nine using Picard's famous line of engage, because Picard is the only one who ever said engage. Also, why is Dr. Agnes Urati on the why is Christos here?
Because it's just an image I pulled in a rush to get this all done.
Oh no, I thought this was an actual. Okay, no, so this is a quote. But
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? I really
Just a
enjoy
quote
the.
pull. It's just an image that I could grab and use in a
Oh, it's a good image. It's a good image.
Yeah.
Although,
But
so
it's not a season 3 image. There is no season 3 images other than the video that they showed today, and I wasn't able to pull from that today.
I was busy watching Enterprise. I didn't see
My
anything
my
that happened.
apologies for not living up to some imaginary standard in Scotty's head. Thank you very much.
No, I'm always no, but I'm always happy to see Agnes Girardi.
Me too. All right. Second up on the list.
So, Jill, are you looking forward to Star Trek Picard? Or sorry, Patrick Stewart season 3?
Well, I know what some insiders are saying about it, that they think that it's going to be good, but I don't know. I don't really think so, but we'll see.
So I've heard from a little birdie that has seen the entire season
Yes, I've heard from the same bird. He
that it's really
tweets.
good. So I trust that.
I don't. I love him, but I don't trust
I mean that's fine. I actually I know Robert. I've known him for a long time, so
him.
I don't think there's no
Well,
reason to
I've
lie about it.
watched him for it. I'm not saying there's any lying. I'm just saying,
I mean, yeah, everybody's got to
we've been burned for 5 years straight with absolutely
every,
nothing to show for it.
everybody's got
So
to be their own judge.
yeah,
It's just the way it is. Especially as bad as season 2 was, it might be the worst Star Trek season of Star Trek television ever made. Anyways, so that's kind of that. So I'm hearing good things. Let's hope.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
I I know we don't read the chat, but pop culture
Oh no,
curator
feel
says what I
free.
think. If the third season was so good, it wouldn't be the last.
No, well,
Well,
I think well they knew
Nice.
2 years ago before they even started filming the third that it was
Hmm.
going to be the last. So
well,
these
yes.
these things
I
don't
know.
happen in real time like that.
Oh yeah, I know.
Yeah, so I think that's and unfortunately for the show, if it turns out that it is the best season of Picard and it's the last one, it kind of sucks for them. But write better shows. That's all I can say.
Well, like you said, I'm just
Hmm.
looking forward to good stuff,
Exactly.
optimism. But yeah, I'm, I'm straddling. I'm sitting on the fence. I'm straddling the fence,
Well,
and
Star Trek Picard season 2 burned us so bad last year.
mhm.
Those first 2 good episodes that it's you got to be cautiously optimistic when it's Picard. But I
Well,
think
I'm
that
just of the opinion that Star Trek's not going to heal until we don't have, Secret Hideout or Bad Robot at the helm of this.
But I understand where you're coming from, and I get that. And I think that that is a healthy level of pushback for fans against the corporate mentality that has been obvious
yeah,
for a long time,
Yes.
right?
right.
Right. You got it.
And but I do think that the only way I'm one of those people, it's like you're going to beat it from the inside. And so if it is a new showrunner for season 3, even though it is the last one, you have to look at things like Enterprise, where it was a new showrunner for season 4. And he
Right.
was trying to make things better so
And
that
he
it
did.
would go forward. And he
Right.
did. It didn't go forward for, business reasons, but that doesn't mean that what we are going to get at the tail end of a piss poor series won't be at least, you know, what we
Watchable.
wanted in the watchable, like
That would be
watchable.
amazing.
Wouldn't watchable be amazing? Let's move on
Or
to
this.
Yeah. So I thought
story
Strange New
2.
World. I thought Strange New Worlds was very watchable for me. I enjoyed that show, even though Anson Mount. I mean, it's the Anson Mount show. He carries that,
Mm.
show, but it's very watchable to me.
I
Uh,
really like Ortegas.
Me too. I do. I like the cast. I think the cast is good. They're actually
Did
competent.
They
Like
do their
unlike,
jobs.
unlike the other show. So it was something.
You see? Jill, even Steve knows not to say the word discovery.
Yeah, it's disco. All right.
Next
I'm
up.
sorry, I missed all that because I had to deal with something.
No,
But
it's fine. It's
well,
fine. It's cool.
uh,
Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 2 clip revealed that Carol Kane to join the cast.
Awesome.
Stunt casting, but I do love Carol Kane,
Me
so
too.
let's read on. While fans may have to wait until 2023 for Star Trek Strange New Worlds to return, Paramount Plus helped make that wait a bit easier by revealing a new clip from season 2 and sharing that Carol Kane will be joining the cast. You know what's interesting is that Star Trek Strange New Worlds is filmed in Toronto, so that means that I have a chance to meet Carol Kane.
There
She
you go.
might be at Fan Expo next year. This first glimpse of Star Trek Strange New Worlds' second season features Melissa Navia's Lieutenant Erica Ortegas getting ready to go on a rare away mission. She was so excited she even got a fancy hat. Really? Really? A
To go with
fancy
her out.
hat, you say? To go with her outfit. She. What? Why would you? Anyway, she meets up
I
with
get.
Anson Mount's Captain Pike, Christina Chong's Lieutenant Laan Noonien Singh, Babs. Oh no, I can't.
Yeah, yeah. You just go ahead and skip to Doctor.
Dr. Mbenga and Ethan Peck. See, I almost stumbled over Ethan.
Yeah.
As Science Officer Spock to discuss what's to come. As for Kane, the Emmy Award winning actress will be joining the cast in a recurring role as Pelia.
Palia, I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
Interesting casting. What do you think, Scotty?
Sounds like a Tig Notaro to me.
Yeah. Do you
Yeah.
think stunt casting?
Yeah. Stunt casting.
Tig was a
Jill,
last minute kind of replacement, though, wasn't she?
I
Oh
know
wow.
Jill is actually, her skin is crawling right now by seeing that bridge, that uniform, all that.
I thought the Jeffries tubes kind of look okay. That's the best thing I can say about Strange New Worlds. I have several live streams, my Friday show, detailing all of what all the problems that I found in that show.
I have seen 4 episodes of Strange New Worlds, and I find it to be, oh, the monkeys to the Beatles.
That's generous.
Oh,
It
it's not
is generous.
that bad.
It's actually it's insulting to Davy Jones. Number 3, Star Trek Discovery. Oh, I thought we said we weren't gonna. Anyway, Star
Yeah,
Trek
that's
Discovery
if you're
season
fine.
5 behind the scenes set tour and first look image revealed. Um, oh, Jill, if you have things to take care of, like you can do whatever you want. Star Trek Day 2022 didn't give us too many details regarding season 5 of Star Trek Discovery, but it did provide fans with a 5-minute behind the scenes set tour and a first look image of Sonequa Martin Green's Mikey Burnham. Dr. Hugh Culber.
Space
Uh,
Jesus.
oh my God. Can you look at the picture?
I know. She's kicking ass.
What about that? Like, that looks more Mad Max than Star
Right?
Trek.
Right? I know. That's what I said. I'm like, this is the photo. Okay, whatever.
So, can I stop reading?
If you want to, you can.
I do. I
It's a Star
do
Wars
want
thing.
to.
This is the news. I don't make it up. All I do is present it.
I appreciate the imagery. I appreciate Dr. Hugh Culber, actor Wilson Cruz, hosting the behind the scenes tour. And the video features cast members Anthony Rapp, Mary Wiseman. I thought she was a teacher on Starfleet Academy. And Blue Del Barrio alongside series costume designer Anthony Tran. Be sure to watch the video for never before seen Easter eggs on set. Oh my God, I'm even losing interest.
That's fine. We'll go to the next.
I stopped listening. I'm sorry.
I know, and you love my voice.
I do.
I'm so sorry. Anyway, meanwhile, in the animation front, Star Trek Lower Decks sneak peek at season 3 episode Crisis Point 2 Paradoxus revealed. Okay. Season 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks began on August 25th, and Star Trek Day 2022 gave us a sneak peek at the upcoming episode Crisis Point 2 Paradoxus, in which Boimler's holodeck movie sequel tries to live up to the original as seen in Season 1. This particular episode will be available on previous seasons of Community. Have you ever seen the show Community? The
No,
Mark. Oh, it's so much better than this.
I bet.
Anyway, it's a cartoon, so enjoy. Your mileage may vary. Moving on.
Also revealed was an image from season 3 of Star Trek Lower Decks featuring the USS Cerritos and the USS Wayfarer.
Did they show any images of Boimler and what's the lady's name?
Got me, I don't watch this show.
Yeah, fair enough. Anyway, the lead character and Boimler, they're apparently going to be live action on Strange New World season 2. That's the most interesting thing, and it's such a gimmick. It's so
Yeah.
upsetting. So anyway, moving on to Kate Mulgrew news.
Hmm.
Star Trek Prodigy's first season will return in October.
Yep,
First,
first clip revealed.
oh, but it says Star Trek Prodigy's first season will
Keep
return.
reading, please.
I will. I will continue reading. In October, first look clip revealed. The first season of Star Trek Prodigy, Paramount Plus's original animated kids series,
Will return from its
will be returning from its mid-season break on Thursday, October 27th, just in time for Halloween. The premiere date announcement was accompanied by a first look clip that features the USS Protostar crew and beloved character Murph as he completes his metamorphosis. It was also confirmed that Billy Campbell, the actor who starred in Star
What?
Trek The Next Generation as Thadian O'Connor, will join the cast of Star Trek Prodigy in a recurring role. He will he will be sorry, hang on. He will be a part of a group of recurring actors that include Commander Tyces David Diggs, Ensign Asencias, Jamil Jamal, whatever. Dr. Nooms Jason, move your cursor,
Jason
Alexander.
Alexander.
Oh, Dr. Nooms Jason Alexander. I'm glad that Jason Alexander's back in Star Trek. And Captain Chakotay's Robert Beltran. Okay, neat.
David Diggs was killer on Snowpiercer, so I'm happy. He's got a great voice too.
Who?
David Diggs.
Oh, excellent.
I don't watch
Commander Tyces.
Frosty, but that's
I'm
cool.
not. I'm not. No, but those are all supposed to be referencing previous characters who are reprising their roles
Yeah.
in Prodigy, and some of them I know, some of them I don't.
Yeah, I don't have that much interest in this series, but the few episodes I did watch, this is the only of the new Star Trek that doesn't treat the past with this with utter disrespect. So
There
that's
is
good.
a
Good for Nickelodeon.
there is a level of awe that they still sort of give the Star Trek universe. So
Yeah,
I've only
but
seen 2 episodes, and
right,
I
me
was just
too.
like, eh.
Yeah,
Anyway. So is that the news, or do we have anything else?
That's the news.
Thank
not
heavens.
yeah, right. Not interesting, but doesn't make me want to vomit. So
Well, at least he didn't bring any pictures of Will Wheaton.
Oh, you want some Will Wheaton? I got some fucking Will Wheaton, yo.
No,
No,
no, no, no, no, no, no.
no, we're good. Moving on.
Anyway, let's get into
I
Broken
I have to
Bow.
I
Oh,
have to step away for just a moment. Be right
yeah,
back.
absolutely.
Okay.
So, when it comes to Broken Bow, this is an
That would be broken,
interesting
bro.
beast. Bow. I know, we agreed on this, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
So, when it comes to Broken Bow,
Yeah.
Bow?
Broken
So,
Bow, Oklahoma.
Well, okay, so Brandon Braga and Rick Berman wrote this episode.
yes.
Mhm.
Do we want to do impressions, or do we want to go through the slides and leave
Impressions?
impressions till the end?
Oh, I don't know. Well, I do know Enterprise gets better, but the script for this one for me is a little bit tedious.
How
But it
so?
does well, just the way that the character interactions are written in terms of, not really they have great characters, but they're the characterization is not so well developed. And um, I don't know.
I got
Sure.
a sense of the characters, but and that's the reason that I ask, is that I think going through slide by slide, like even this, what we've been looking at, many people may not know. This is a young Jonathan Archer painting the prototypical lunar orbiter, and it's going to be fitted by a miniature warp core, or whatever kind of remote control, and he's being taught by his father, who works alongside Zephram Cochrane, or did, and this is
Yeah, it was
where.
almost like a zero gravity gimbal that
Hmm.
they put into the model to make it fly. I thought that was really cool because it's almost like a warp core. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
That they put in the model in this. So I thought that was I thought it was really cool the first time I saw it. I watched it again today and I thought it was cool too, still. So
It's great.
But I like the building of the model. What, you
yep,
never made model ships?
right.
I
Ships
did.
in a bottle. Can you make ships in a
Solid.
bottle? Near kids.
And so this is sort of the establishment of the passion of Jonathan Archer with his brilliant father, who
Henry,
worked alongside Henry Archer, who worked alongside Zephram Cochrane to make this happen.
Yes, and
And
Admiral Saval.
yep,
yes, and don't call him Admiral or Ambassador Pointy Ears.
right.
And which also, like, my first note is, it is so interesting for the blatant sort of bigotry against the oppression of the Vulcans.
That's kind of the Archer's arc throughout this episode is his attitude towards Vulcans and how it turns
Hmm.
around by the end. So he has to
Through
deal with his
cooperation, yeah.
yeah, he has to deal with his preconceptions.
Not only in this episode, but it's an arc that repeats itself over the course of the series, which I find fascinating. I always thought that was cool.
So Brocken View, Oklahoma, 30 years later, we get a plane crash and, a giant, tiny lister running through cornfields, followed by lizard men and Kukwa.
Yeah, he apparently crash landed.
Well, you know what? I thought it was because they talk about the cloaking technology. They don't call it cloaking technology, but that was something that was initially Suliban.
Suliban. Yeah.
Hmm.
It wasn't. It wasn't. And oh, here's Daryl. He's a guy in Oklahoma,
His
and
name's
there's
Daryl. I didn't even catch that.
no, I'm making that up. And so, but he goes back in and gets himself a plasma weapon, and then shoots a Klingon in the chest after the Klingon blows up. Oh my God! Look at Tiny Lister as a Klingon. Like, that's amazing.
Perfect.
Look at that makeup. My 90% of not liking Discovery is that Klingons don't look like Tiny Lister in the first episode of Enterprise.
They should do. Yeah. Right.
Oh my stars! Look at that. That is a futuristic Johnny Cash song.
Well, yeah, it looks almost just like a normal gun. It just happens to be a plasma gun. So that's kind of
Well, I
fun.
like, and he like slaps the button at the butt of the gun.
Yeah.
It's amazing. Like, and just because I like future weapons, not because I'm a gun nut. Anyway,
I
so
know.
these weird guys, and they go underneath, and they're all like,
They slide under the door. They're shapeshifters.
yeah, yeah, they do shift their shape, and then Tiny Lister jumps out and blows the crap out of it. And I'm just like, of course, there's a disruptor setting for blow it up.
Right.
It was a methane explosion.
Oh, okay. And yeah, I seem to remember that they do establish that
later.
later, of course.
And
But
then
then,
he takes the well, I guess rifle or shotgun, plasma shotgun blast to the chest.
Well, this is my favorite part actually because the farmer doesn't understand Kling, which is what causes this confrontation.
Sure.
So we immediately learn as an audience that we don't have the universal translator anymore as a backup. And so that's a big part of what I like on about Enterprise is that they explain that things are not quite up to date yet, and we're on the journey with them, learning about their new technologies and stuff.
Yep.
well, and also their new interactions, and we'll keep going.
Right, this is
But
apparently first contact with Klingons, isn't it?
this is, which you know what, and I was gonna save it for later, but now because you're so astute, um, it's kind of weird
Mhm.
that this episode they like humans feel like Vulcans are stopping them from interacting with other species in the galaxy.
Right.
Yes, yes, they're like overprotective parents.
Yes. However, this is the first time that humans are actively making first contact with another species by bringing Clang. Speaking of names,
Right.
Clang. It could have been better. Going back to the Klingon homeworld and being like, we're making first contact with you. We are a presence in the galaxy. I thought that that was great. Anyway,
It was
so
such
Daryl,
Daryl's doing his best Stephen King impression.
and that's when we get to what can be called one of the most contentious moments in Star Trek
okay.
history.
So, oh my gosh, yes, and
This is Faith of the Heart.
oh my god.
Written by Diane Warren.
Okay, I
And
have to be honest. The first time I saw this episode, I got past the teaser. I saw this song. I turned it off. I didn't come back for another week or so.
I have to be honest, I was on a pub patio in a late August in the year 2001, and I heard this song because they were putting it in rotation on radios to make it so that people would watch Star Trek, and I was like, "You know what? I like it."
I love it now, but I had to hear it 1,000 times
I
before it
can't
grew on
stand it.
me.
I still cannot stand the song. Hate it. I don't, and why they thought they should. I know Diane Warren was. You got to remember at the time, she was the biggest songwriter in the world. She was all over the place, and but I just don't know why they went with a, a, a theme that had lyrics. And not instrumental. It just I don't know. It was just such a weird idea
Yeah,
to me.
there's a video out there that uses Archer's theme over these great visuals because I do like the visuals of the theme song.
Yeah.
And if you put Archer's theme over it, it's much
Well,
better than this.
in the mirror darkly, those two episodes are the best. Opening
Well, but
for,
very different, very different. Hopefully someday we'll get there.
but it's I
But
mean that showed us during the run what it would what an opening could be without this kind of weird song.
90s sitcom
It was
song.
really weird. I still don't like it. I hate it.
I listen
Visuals
to
are
it
great.
all the time.
Hmm.
Even the Rod Stewart version.
No, just this one.
Yeah, just this one. This theme song is about as much of this song that I can stand because of its relation to Star Trek. Otherwise, I would never listen to it.
But I do enjoy the introduction,
I like
and
the
I
intro
am a person when I watch this on Netflix and it asks me whether or not I want to skip the opening,
every time.
I say no.
I skip it every time.
Never gonna bend or break me.
Oh man,
I know the words.
it's rough.
Whatever.
Sleep too. And this was in the era
I,
where
I like the rover.
TV
I
openings.
do like the rover and the Zoom
Like I said, I love the visuals. The visuals are great. It's the music
Sure.
breaks it. And this was the days where you had these big long intros for
When you
TV.
yeah. Anyway, let's not spend too much time. I like it, you don't. Let's go.
Luckily, we got to a point where we don't have big long intros like this anymore in the TV show.
Yeah. Well, I like the Phoenix, so I just wanted to be right there for a second, and then
No,
you can go.
totes. I love the Phoenix as well. But I also enjoy this. I enjoy the NX-01. I like the NX-01. I like
Yeah,
the
me
look
too.
of the ship.
Yeah.
Anywho, speaking of the ship, let's see a shuttle pod bump into it.
You scratch the paint.
You scratch the paint. But I like it that there's somewhat, and also subscribe to Antiderivative Jill's channel, where she has been having discussions with pop culture curator regarding Star Trek: The Original Series, and we've been talking about the relationships between Kirk, Spock, and McCoy, and it's kind of informed my sort of affinity towards Jonathan Archer and
Mhm.
Charles Tucker the
There's a third.
Third. You can call him Trip.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So they start to establish their relationship not just with themselves but with the ship. Since
hmm
the chief engineer and the captain are the ones that end up loving the ship the most.
exactly. I really like it. I really enjoy it.
I really like the aesthetic of this show. I thought the mechanical corner, kind of more mechanical nature, like industrial nature to the design of not only the ships but the interiors. Uh, I really liked. We went from that clean, kind of slick interiors of the preceding Star Trek shows into something that looks more of its era, in my opinion. So
Yes, this feels like a future that is closer to us than any other Star Trek. I
right.
agree with that.
Well, and as we go through the episode, it it is a little disappointing just because it's not as Star Trek as I want it to be. Like especially when it comes to phasers and shields and transporters. It's all technology that I'm just sort of, oh, they're not beaming
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, you're used to them having all of this technology, but this is, years before.
This is way before.
Yeah.
Which is interesting, storytelling wise,
Yeah.
just
Mhm.
because what it's more interesting if you're not going to do the interpersonal conflict that sort of Gene Roddenberry avoided, then you might as well take things away, like technologically,
Yeah.
so that there are adversities to overcome.
I'm going to move it to this slide over here, and I'm going to be right back.
Okay, sounds good. This is where we see uh, Ambassador Soval
So
and the rest of the Federation, and or actually Starfleet. Not there's no
Starfleet,
Federation right now,
no Federation yet.
and this is where they're sort of going in to find out what to do with Clang, who has been shot in the chest but still alive, and it's going to be a whole interstellar incident
Yeah, and
about.
the Vulcans are all up and snooty and up in arms about this whole deal. They can't control it, so I know that that pisses them off.
Well, and they want to take control of the not take control, take point on
Take,
the situation because Vulcans feel that humanity is not yet ready to venture into the cosmos.
right.
And so we have Admiral Forrest in the background, we have Admiral Mustache over there, and Gary Graham.
Yep. God, I love Gary
Who
Graham's role. He nails it, especially later on in the last couple of seasons, the last season especially. Man, he's really good in this role.
Hey, who's that pretty lady in the background with the bowl cut?
Right. So Paul, this is great too, and kind of we're just about to see Jonathan march in. There he is, march in, and
He doesn't even march in. He saunters in with his hands in his pockets, and he's like, "What's going on, guys? What
yeah,
are we doing?"
yeah, and then starts giving him the business.
Yeah, and then he says, and this is where Sam Beckett was just saying, "Oh boy."
Oh boy. Yeah,
But
so
yeah, they're trying to
it's Klingon. What do they call it?
Klingot.
Klingon. The Klingon. And yeah. So he
Well,
starts
they go in.
about basically being the what we were just talking about. Vulcans holding humanity back from actually going out and discovering new people, new places, new things, and he pretty much gives them the business and doesn't pull any punches. He never does really in this show.
Well, and one of my favorite things about this scene is that it is a matter of humanity exerting its humanity. If this man is not dead, we're not going to unplug him and give him. We're not going to kill a man just to appease their government.
Right.
And and it's a logical explanation. If you want to avert war, then appease your enemy, kind of thing. From the Vulcans, they know the Klingons better. But Jonathan Archer is like, "Are you saying we're going to kill a guy? We're not.
Yeah.
That is not what we do as humanity."
Right. But Jonathan,
and I enjoy that
idea about the Klingon culture that it's actually glorious to die in battle, and
well, for me,
prisoner.
Everyone in this scene is pretty much awful to each other, but I give it a pass kind of because we're seeing the baby steps of Starfleet, and so one of the things that's emphasized in this episode are the idea that the ideas that we expect from Star Trek are not exactly established yet. They're still in their infancy, and humans are sort of antagonistic and hold animosity towards their Vulcan allies, who in turn the Vulcans themselves have also seemed to lost some control of their emotions and treat humans as an annoyance, yet they care enough to be there and to help them. And Archer, for me, it seems like he's completely ignoring them and even threatens to paw with physical violence.
Oh yeah, you have no idea how much I'm restraining myself to busting you on your ass.
Putting you on your ass.
And and the Vulcans are trying to help the humans here, and he ignores them to the point where he dismisses them when they say that if the Vulcans hadn't intervened, a Klingon fleet would come and squash Earth. Right. I mean, that's a good point.
Yeah, it is a good point, but there are Vulcan intermediaries who can, like, if we are allied, and I'm gonna speak for Jonathan Archer. I apologize. I am also a Bacula. So here's what I'm thinking. It's like it's been 100 years since you got here. We have been trying to get ahead, and you've been saying, "Oh no, galaxy is dangerous. You can't." Sure. And it's like, well, it's about time. And once a Klingon lands on Earth, and we can help that Klingon as humanity, we should take him back. And so we have Ambassador Saval saying, like, you don't understand Klingons. Right. And it's like, that's not the point.
And I could get your side of that too, because in a way, the Vulcans are kind of acting like parents who are afraid to let their children go who have grown up.
Yeah.
And so it does make sense that I also do like how he fights for the life of the Klingon. Yeah, instead of.
But as you said, this is the beginning of the character arc of Jonathan Archer sort of embracing Vulcan support. Mm-hmm. And thank heavens for T'Pol, who does not get knocked on her ass.
And it's the first time
look, it's Phlox. And so, he goes in. He finds out that Phlox knows about Klingons. Says, is he dead? Not yet. We'll try not to. And there's an argument between some Vulcans. It's all very logical. And
very logical. Because if Kling returns as an invalid, then that's a fate worse than death for Klingons.
Yeah.
Which is something Archer doesn't quite get yet.
Not yet.
Well, and it's one of those things that's sort of to the benefit of the audience because we're all Star Trek fans and we have to rely on the ignorance of the main characters, even though we know everything that is going to come to pass.
Right.
By the way, Jolene Blaylock, smoking hot
Yeah.
as a Vulcan. I don't know how she looks at a human. I've never seen her before.
But for
Um,
Archer's
Oh,
side, there's no way to know he's not going to be fine. So it makes sense to give him a chance to
right.
get him home.
Fun fact: Jolene Blaylock also appears in Stargate. A lot of Star Trek alumni pop up in the various Stargate franchises
Yes,
properties.
my husband is more of a Stargate fan, so every time we watch Star Trek together, he's like, that person's in Stargate, and that
Yep,
person's in Stargate.
a bunch of them.
you can see it all next week on Jill's new podcast, Me and My Husband, A Story of Stargate,
Oh man, I
on
wish
the
he would.
Antiderivative Jill's channel.
I wish he would stream with me, but he won't.
That's okay. It's just a joke. But if it isn't a joke and you ever do it, that's going to be the radio tag.
Thank you. I'll
Just
come
give,
back. I'll
just give
come
it
back to
around.
this live stream and clip it out.
Now you're just being condescending. So anyway, this is the introduction of the transporter.
Yes.
They say that
Trent?
it's not suitable for humanoid use,
Not yet.
mostly just for cargo. But it shows it. And also, let's not forget, let's introduce our gentlemen. We do have Reed and Mayweather.
Mayweather. Yeah.
Reed is a stuck up Brit, and he
Hmm.
is the tactical officer. And Mayweather is a skilled pilot who was raised on the shipping lanes of the boomers. So he was raised on a starship, born in space, if you will.
Born in space. Yep.
And that man in the background is playing Galaga.
I would be.
I would too, but I really enjoy this sort of introduction of the characters. Every Star Trek pilot has had those sort of casual encounters with the characters, and I like these guys. I like these people. Here's Hoshi, who is in Brazil teaching English or whatever xenolinguistics she happens to choose, and everyone is sort of learning with them, and half of them are 30. Meanwhile, back on Jurassic Park, uh, Sam Beckett gives Hoshi the recording of the Klingon language
Well,
and offers her an opportunity that she cannot refuse. The first
he had to
human.
entice her, Scotty. He had to entice her with something because she was on leave, right, from Starfleet. So he
Yeah.
knew he had to entice her with something. And what's the quickest way to Hoshi's heart? Well, obviously, it's some crazy, complicated language that she has to
A
puzzle.
linguistic puzzle. Yeah.
Right, because she had regulations on her side to keep doing whatever she wanted, and so that's why he needed that hook to and get her to join the ship early.
Yeah.
But it's also an indicator to sort of character interactions that happen in the future. Like Hoshi and Archer are friends.
Yeah.
So, but who wouldn't be friends with Jonathan Archer? Look at that man.
Or
Meanwhile, back at Dry Dock, we're having tea. And this is the most racist thing that I have ever seen between two humans and a dog talking about Vulcans. Like, Trip is absolutely first things first. It's like what they're putting us like in reference to T'Pol. They're putting a spy on the ship.
Yeah.
You're right. They're pretty racist, specious.
Well, isn't that exactly how you
Speciest.
would feel, though? You're right. I mean, I would feel the same
Like
way. Like,
four days there, 4 days back,
You're
and
not here to
she's
help us.
gone.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Oh, there's your first problem. Never try and shake hands with a Vulcan.
She was like, "Nah, I'm good. Thanks, bro." But
And and also, she was a little offended by Porthos' smell because
yeah,
apparently they're establishing that Vulcan females have a heightened sense of smell.
You know, my dog has the worst breath ever, and I would wear it as a cologne.
moving on.
So anyway, Porthos is very affectionate towards to Paul, as we all will become in the future.
Yep.
Um, but this is the announcement of the launch of the NX-01. And here are some trepidatious Vulcans, as they tend to be. And here is some early 2000s CGI, as it
Not
tends to
bad.
be. But thank you, Admiral. It's
For really
not bad. It's not great.
not great. It's not bad. I was watching
It
it. I,
looks
I
good.
watched this again on my 4K TV on Paramount Plus, and I was surprised how good the show looked.
Well, I do like I watched this on Netflix, and thank you for the applause. Thank you, Lieutenant Reed. But I it wasn't a very good transfer, but I have seen it on a good TV with Blu-ray. I've seen the discs, and they are great. But
Yeah.
there's Zephram Cochrane
Yep.
giving a variation of the
Speech.
uh, yeah, boldly go where no man has gone. Go boldly.
Go
He
bold.
corrects. He corrects the grammatical error.
Yes, he does. And I think it's pretty cool that they have Zephyr Cochrane show up here for that, since, of course, we remember him from First Contact.
Yeah.
Which also, and I did it. This popped into my noggin as well. Is now we have two crews of the Enterprise who are sort of associated with Zephyr. Three with Zephram Cochrane.
Yeah. There's that gimbally anti grav kind of motor.
And this is in the moment where they're sort of launching, and I appreciated that
I liked it too.
that that Jonathan Archer, like, he associated his first steps into the galaxy and in the same way that he associated his first experience with flight.
Right. And so that model, I don't know if it's the exact same model, but we see a model just like that again in the series. In fact, I think in the very next episode, episode 3, you see him flying it around the shuttle bay, which is interesting.
Well, it's always nice when you have callbacks and continuity.
Sure.
So anyway, Warp 4. And then we get to the fucking Suliban
Suliban. Yeah.
temporal guy. What is this?
Yeah. What is this?
I don't
Um,
know.
See, this is some I'd like. I don't. I wasn't a huge fan of the Suliban. I think that we went to them way too much in the show, but I do like the temporal stuff. Scotty,
But it
I know
never.
Scotty doesn't, but I do. I like the temporal wars.
right.
Anyway,
Well, yeah. Just starting with the temporal stuff is, I don't think, was a great idea. And so this is Future Man, right?
Yeah,
But here we get to meet Dr. Phlox.
yeah.
what about Dr. Phlox, Jill?
Well, he's actually one of my favorite characters on this show. He
Yeah.
uses animal research in his medicine, and he loves Chinese food, just visiting Earth just one time. And I think I like him as much as I do because he inserts some extra science into episodes that otherwise won't have as much. Like here, Archer hands him this Altarian marsupial whose droppings contain the greatest concentration of regenerative enzymes found anywhere.
His droppings?
Yeah, the droppings of the marsupial. Yeah, the little animal. And not only that, but Phlox to me is representative of the overarching theme of Enterprise that humans have not advanced as much as they do eventually with their technology. So they don't have great technological advances in medicine. So it makes sense that they'd need an alien who has more experience with other species.
Yeah,
And you,
it also informs us as an audience that as we meet Denobulians and other species that may be more advanced, is kind of how we got to the stage where we see like the next generation or even the original series, that kind of technology. It's not necessarily that we came up with the whole thing ourselves, is that we made friends and borrowed technology as well.
I really like the attention to detail on the
On the feet,
Klingon feet. I
right?
am not the
yeah, me
Quentin
too.
Tarantino of Klingon feet, but I just like that they look like Worf's feet in that old episode where Worf breaks his back and they
Yeah.
show his feet, and he's got that other like little nipple on the
What
outside
is
of
that?
his
Is that
toe.
ethics?
Oh, that's no, come on, that's Harry Styles.
Is that when Worf breaks his back? Is that episode called Ethics?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we learn here also that they have 80 hours until they reach Kronos, so they have a bit of a time limit to get the Klingon up on the speed.
Sorry about that.
Well, and I think that's also, just closing or sorry, shuttering flocks for a little bit. He is almost the most curious character. Like, he is the most curious character.
Oh yeah.
And I appreciate him in terms of that exploratory drive. He wants to learn. That's
Not
his
only,
job.
not only that, he's the most kind of even keeled character emotionally,
Well, I would
right?
I would recommend you look at the screen right now and tell me that's not a crazy person.
That's not a crazy person. That's
He's
the
being optimistic.
Yeah, well, it still looks creepy. Like, don't come to my children's birthday.
Yeah. Let's see. Any more on him?
So no. Next up is your favorite part. It's the Jeffries tubes.
Jeffrey's too.
Oh, yeah, there's a Jeffries tube. You're right. How did you know?
And the sweet spot.
Yeah, they tried to have a character moment here with Trip and Travis.
Every
And
ship has one.
Tried to?
Yeah, I thought it was good.
and yeah, apparently this is the part of the ship between the grav generator and the bow plate, which has a small area where there's 0 G until you reach the ceiling where you fall upside down.
Oh, right. This is the part
Sweet
where
spot.
they talk about sleeping in 0 G, and then,
Mhm.
oh, where is it? Uh, is it true about those aliens who have three of? And it's like, yes. Do you have firsthand experience? And it's like first hand, second
Second
hand,
hand,
third
third
hand.
hand.
I just wondered if that was a reference to how they almost had Betazoids and Next Generation have three, because I had learned that Deanna Troy almost did. But thanks to production costs and Dorothy Fontana, that never happened.
What do you mean, thanks? I've seen Total Recall. So,
Me too.
no, I know. It's just three boobs. It's an easy joke, Jill. I apologize. Meanwhile, upside down Travis Mayweather. This is one of my favorite scenes in
Me too.
Star
Yeah,
Trek.
This is
yeah.
one of my favorite scenes in the episode. Fall of Star Trek.
No, this is one of those things, and it's gonna come down to a breadstick.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's the reason why I love this scene, because some of the other stuff they say is more of that specious stuff that you were talking about. Uh,
Right.
because right, so T'Pol is admonishing them for still eating meat, um,
Hmm.
and Trip is saying, "Well, we can overcome hunger and disease and war." But she kind of has a good point that the Vulcans are there to be sure that they don't regress backwards, and we know they don't eventually, but it's a concern.
But you know what? It's hubris
It is.
to
Mhm.
try and to be parental
Yeah,
to
it
a
is.
species.
I do think that they have their claws a bit too deep with the humans for sure, but they think they're helping.
I
Yeah,
think that they're protecting. I think that they're protecting
Yeah, they are.
not humans.
human.
Pardon me, my Ferengi is coming out. But
Human.
no, I think that they are protecting the status quo, and they don't want to introduce another power into the galaxy, or at least another,
Hmm.
I don't know, thorn in the side of the Vulcan.
That's true. T'Pol keeps saying things like, "Well, you guys haven't embraced logic, or whatever." So it's almost like the Vulcans want humans to be more like Vulcans before they get out into the galaxy, but they don't really understand that humans are not going to do that. But what makes this scene really good is T'Pol and her breadstick, like you said.
Hmm.
We know we already know Vulcans are vegetarian, but she also informs that they don't eat with their hands, only utensils. So, she spends the entire scene getting the
And
breadstick.
what's the quote? Anything is possible with the correct amount of discipline,
Mhm.
With proper
which
discipline,
is
anything
with
is
proper
possible.
discipline. With proper discipline, yeah, that is absolutely gorgeous. That is one of and given by one of the best Vulcans. How do you feel about
She is
Jolene
great.
Blaylock?
I love her because she does her best to actually, well, where some of the other Vulcans in this episode allow their their emotions or annoyance to come out, she actually feels like she's trying to be Vulcan, and she does a good job. I believe
Hmm.
her as a Vulcan. Almost, yeah, in this first episode.
Well, and I believe that one of her complaints as the series went on was that she wasn't written as a Vulcan, and she was a Star Trek fan as she was growing up, and she was just like, but this isn't how Vulcans do things. Like there was a moment where she was asked later on in the series, she was asked to eat something with her hands, and she was like, have you seen the pilot?"
Right.
Nice. That's great. That's why she does so well, is because she
Hmm.
cares.
Hmm.
She's
Meanwhile, on the
my favorite
bridge.
Falcons on screen so far.
Yeah, meanwhile on the bridge, Hoshi's ears can feel the tremors of the ship,
Hmm.
and I guess she's a little jumpy. She's a little nervous, I guess. And T'Pol sees this and kind of is concerned about her, that asks her if she wants to lie down. But and then Hoshi
Would
says
you like a
something.
tranquilizer?
Hoshi says something in Vulcan that I think, was it like "go to hell"?
Yeah. Which, you know what? I appreciated this interaction because it was kind of, it wasn't, well, you know what? I don't know. Jill, was this a catty moment? Was this used to arbitrarily pit the female characters against one another? Or was this just sort of a mutual understanding?
That's a good question. I don't know. I think they did it well. I think it was not too over the top as a
It was
catty moment.
performed up
Yeah,
to interpretation, I suppose.
I think it's good.
Meanwhile, Tiny Lister,
Yeah.
he
Um.
doesn't he doesn't have enough pillows.
You're right. Not big enough. That's a
It's a
small
big
pillow.
head, man. He needs a bigger pillow.
Oh, she's having trouble with the dialect or
Yeah.
dialect.
Yeah. Because the universal translator isn't quite working, so she has to go with what she knows, and everything she hears feels like gibberish. And Phlox helps. He says, "Excuse me, his prefrontal cortex is hyperstimulated. I doubt he has any idea what he's saying." And so, yeah, most of what he's saying is unintelligible.
That's what happens when you get shot in the chest with a plasma rifle.
Right.
Fair.
So now the entire ship loses power, and we get those Goldern Suliban again. They
Mhm.
show up on the ship, and we go into, oh my god, it's
Crawling
all
around on the on the deck, on the ceiling.
It looks like the remake of Rollerball, but red.
What's wrong with rollerball?
Never mind.
Come
Someone
on,
will get it.
never mind. Um, yeah, so the silly bond, they, whatever. They come.
Anyway, they're in, they're trying, and they end up taking Clang. They
They
take
want.
Clang away.
Yep.
And then, I don't know, does someone get hit in the head or something? This is the part in the show where we thank Jill for making slides because
Yep.
this episode, no matter how much I claim to love it, is rather forgettable.
It is.
So Spider Man drops onto Venom.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. I guess that's all I got of that.
Is that it? Is that all the
Yeah.
slides we have now?
For this part.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. It's good. So they take Clang. They take Clang away.
Yeah. They kidnap Clang. Yes. Correct.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah, and so because of that, T'Pol thinks this is the end of the mission, since
Right.
the Suliban succeeded in kidnapping.
If we don't have the
Klingon.
Klingon to, yeah, if we don't have the Klingon to take back to Kronos, then what are we doing?
Right.
And John, like we're on a first name basis. He like so Captain Archer says, well, it's my job to find out where he is. We have to get him and take him to Kronos. Like that's what we were gonna do, and that's what we have to do. And so Snooty McVulcan here says, no, it's over. And Captain Archer says, oh, come on.
Well,
says,
but she
"Fine."
also says,
So,
that we should probably contact Starfleet, but Archer's like, no.
Yeah, which is dope.
Mhm.
Like, don't you like? And let's just stop for a second and talk about. And can we not make it look like he's about to say "fuck"?
Yeah.
Fuck you. There, that's better. So anyway, Jonathan Archer does not know what he's doing, but he is so earnest. Scott Bakula's portrayal of Jonathan Archer, I think, is one of my favorite things. A lot of people don't like him, but I have such an
Why?
affinity.
I think he's a
Well, he's kind of brash, and also if you watch this episode and you think about John Wayne, Scott Bakula is doing an excellent John Wayne.
John Wayne. Yeah.
It doesn't show up later in the series, but in this episode, he kind of talks about subspace.
I can see where people might feel that way, especially with when you get into the Zindi thing. Jonathan goes off the rails a bit,
Yeah,
But I mean, in the crux of the show and what's going on narratively, I mean, I think it's called for. I think it's all justified, but he justified his behavior to his crew on several occasions.
I don't want to knock the character in any way, but I just think that like he's not my favorite, but I do understand where he's coming from as a guy who is just like there are no rules. We don't know what where we're going. We don't know what we're doing, but we're going to try our hardest. And he will like whack his shins.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with that is, by the time we get to TNG, we have an evolved form of human, and Archer here is more closer to how we currently are.
Yeah, agreed. And that's part of the reason why.
I think it's 300 years in between Enterprise and Next Generation. So 300 years is a long time.
200 years, I think.
I think it's like 3, but we'll go with your 200 years.
Well, the 24th, this is the 22nd century, and then Next Generation is the 24th.
24th. Okay, so 200, over 200, just over 200.
Sure, 250. Let's call it square.
There you go.
Yeah. Anyway, I just really appreciate.
Yes.
I just appreciate Jonathan Archer, and I, you know what? It's been a long time. Never mind.
Man.
Anyway, fuck you.
Play that.
Then we have dissected
We
Suliban,
have that.
and they are absolutely genetically engineered to
Modified, yeah.
try and take over things, and they have like mimicry and chameleon powers. And Phlox is very impressed.
Yes. Yeah,
Look at that.
he's been altered, as he said.
Mhm. Augmented.
Yeah, they get to the augments later. The true augments in this series.
Look at this. We have tubes and graphics.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
yeah. There's some more Vulcan and human contact conflict with T'Pol saying the Enterprise sensors are less sophisticated than Vulcan toys.
oh no, it reminded me of Back to the Future too, when it's like you're gonna use your hands. That's like a baby's toy. No, but that's what T'Pol says. Is like these are useless machines that you're using. You might as well show me an abacus.
Mm,
And yes, so sexual tension develops between Trip and T'Pol.
right.
No,
Uh,
not yet.
Kid later.
no, but it's there. Come on.
We'll get there. And then
Hoshi
Hoshi,
shows up.
yeah, Hoshi shows up. She translated some of Klang's words, but doesn't really think they're very helpful. They're kind of still gibberish to her, but one of the words she says is helpful. One of which is Rigel, which causes T'Pol to finally admit that Klang was at Rigel 10 before he crashed on Earth.
And you know what? If you're gonna withhold things from me, I am going to put you in a very small space for a long time.
Yeah.
Well, no, confined to the brig. Like, if you're not
Hmm.
going to tell me where the. Okay, so the guy's missing, right? Where was he before he was abducted? Like, that seems like relevant information,
I
don't you
think so
think?
too. Yes.
So, yeah, no, poo poo on the Vulcans on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have any. Yeah, I have to agree.
So, back at the lizard lair,
Right. Back on the farm.
yeah, they're torturing Tiny Lister, otherwise known as Clang.
Hmm.
They
And
need the
I don't
information.
know, what are they, like, he has a message
He has some kind of message.
that he's trying to deliver.
Yeah, he was supposed to meet someone named
Mm.
Saren.
Saren.
Oh, right. I remember her from what we're about to see.
Hmm.
So they decide to all hop in the RV. They wear their nice coats and they go down to the planet. However, T'Pol is going to be I suppose the word would be cultural attache.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she
The,
warns them not to be gregarious.
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
Big gregarious.
Try not to have sex with anyone. And I'm not saying that to be rude.
No, that's
There
what
is
she
a
said.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Trip and Mayweather, they share a glance like, all right, fine.
And that's a continuing theme throughout the series. Trip gets in trouble. A few of the crew members get in trouble in that way. Obviously.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, right. Involving magic rocks, which is another Star Trek theme.
Yeah.
Magic sex rocks.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, if you'd like to buy any magic sex rocks, you can go to www.phantasmagoriumshow.com/shop.
Shop.
And we will, you know what? My inner Harry Mudd is showing.
Yeah.
So there's a shot from the director, or the director's cut of Blade Runner,
The final
Yeah.
cut.
and
Yeah,
this
they're
is
eating butterflies.
a frog,
Out of the air with their tongues, which is
a
oddly
burnt frog.
beautiful.
I don't know.
Hmm.
You know
It's
what? I don't feel like pleasuring myself at all watching this.
it is strange.
It's really weird. Although I do like the first place that they go, and maybe it's cliched, maybe Star Wars has sort of broken it, but it's kind of like the first place that humanity goes is one of the most effed up places in the galaxy that you're going to go to.
Yeah.
Right? But then also this happens, which is so beautiful, which is like
Mhm.
a misunderstanding of our like human perspective of looking at a mother trying to wean her son off of their
They can only,
natural,
yeah, they can only breathe methyl oxide.
but they can adapt to it. And so it is a
Yeah.
matter of weaning. And
Right.
where was it? Humans should learn to objectify other cultures as opposed to learn when to interfere or
Yeah.
something along those lines. It's a
No,
bad
perfect.
paraphrase,
No, it wasn't.
but
It was great.
that's the thing, and it's like that's part of the thing that Trip represents as a character much more so than Archer. Is that Trip is like, what are you doing? And Archer is like, do what you do. But anyway,
Hmm.
and this is the point where my notes get very sloppy.
Me too.
Be Yeah,
Actually, my notes are gone at this point.
no, I've got like four, and three of them are fucking Suliban.
Fucking Suliban.
So anyway, let's go through the slides and see what we say.
Hmm. Yeah, so this will be fun. It'll be quick. It'll be quicker now.
It will
Yeah,
be. This is
The
going to be a
Suliban.
strobe light.
The Suliban attack Hoshi
Yes.
and Archer, and then they kidnap them and put them in a brig of some sort here, and
I
so
like
they're.
this when when Archer is taken away and
Mhm.
T'Pol is looking just like that. Everyone else is worried and T'Pol is just looking at Archer and Archer looks back at T'Pol and be like, "What do I do?" And T'Pol looks at Archer and like, "Not my job."
All right.
Mhm.
Figure it out, bro.
Yeah, look at him.
Yep. Figure it
Help
out.
me. I can't. I'm, force field, yo.
And then
So
the hot.
here's Saren.
Yeah, Saren. This is Saren. And why are you taking Kling home? And then
Mhm.
she kisses him out of nowhere.
Well, she has to get close to him for physical contact because they
Yeah.
have somewhat of a low level psychic understanding. And so she wanted to find out whether or not he was lying. And this is the way that they do it.
Oh, you're right. To measure trust.
And that's when she turns into a green lady,
Yep.
Now she's
like
that.
with a, yeah. You know what? That's a very difficult cosplay.
It
Yeah.
is. That's never happened before.
Oh, come on. There have been some Suliban at
No, that's just what
conventions.
Archer says.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
In reference to kissing somebody, and then that happens.
Well, he doesn't get to Ontario very often. So anyway, they what happened? Someone no, they're trying to shoot Saren because Saren was the one who gave Clang the
The
message.
message.
Yep.
Right.
So the other
So
the other faction of Suliban are coming after.
And
mhm.
what kind of message? The Suliban have been staging attacks within the Klingon Empire, making it appear that one faction is attacking another. Klang was bringing proof of this to the High Council. Without that proof, the Empire could be thrown into chaos. So that was that bit exposition.
Well, look at you not taking notes.
I have the script.
And that is why you are welcome on Set to Stun.
Right?
Please subscribe to Antiderivative Jill's YouTube channel because she knows more about Star Trek and the references than anyone. Except, I don't know, who's.
Except you.
Oh. So, anyway, the Suliban keep shooting their pew pews.
Mhm. Pew pew. I went through that pew pew too quick.
What is the green pew pew?
Was the
Anyway.
green one? Yeah.
Yeah, what is that? What is that one doing?
I don't know.
It looks like a little tractor beam or something.
That one's set to stun.
All right, fair enough.
And why would the Suliban want to do that? The Cabal doesn't make decisions on its own. They're simply soldiers fighting a temporal Cold War. So that's confusing to me. And it's also to Archer. He's like, temporal, you've lost me.
Yeah,
See, and this is yeah. Every time the Suliban show up in this episode, I'm just like, I don't care. Pew
And
pew.
and there's more pew pews. There's
No, I
really
know,
a
but
lot.
wait until we get to the end of the episode. That's when I'm just like, I don't, whatever.
Yeah, me too. Wow, we'll at least we'll be like that together.
Yes, I can't wait until we're unsatisfied together. Oh, thank you again, Jill, for putting together the slides.
Yeah,
Anyway, there's an explosion on some
there's lots of some
scaffolding.
really cool set. Some
Oh, the
special effects.
action's great. Like, no argument. And then Saren dies,
Hmm.
and she says, get Clang.
Yeah, find him. She dies.
Then
she
there's
said,
an elevator, and no one knows where they parked.
And yeah, then they're
I do
looking
like
for.
I do like when they use the sort of original communicators because they still have the flip communicators and all that jazz. Like I enjoy the fact that there is sort of breakage in the signal and you hear it, it goes in and out. Like the sound design in this show, in this episode in particular, is really, really good.
it is good.
Um,
The
it
detail.
sounds like Star Trek. It works.
They had a lot of attention to detail. You have to be when you're doing a prequel like this. You just got to make sure that that you're staying somewhat true to the canon that's come before, right? Or
Mhm.
after, right? So this when you're designing all of the all of the cool toys and sets, you got to make sure that this will eventually evolve into what we see in the next generation and forward.
Well, and also in this scene, Mayweather is playing Galaga.
Yes.
Yeah, well, the storm's kicking up too much interference, and they can't isolate human beings, so they decide to look for Vulcan life signs. But they don't have to. He
Oh,
doesn't have to worry about playing Galaga because there she is,
I found her.
and they take off and fly over to the fight, and T'Pol slips and falls in the snow.
As you do if you've grown up on a desert planet.
I mean,
Right.
yeah, it makes sense. She does a great job of appearing very cold, more than anyone else.
Oh, look at him double wielding, and then he gets shot in the leg, and he's like,
Hmm. Yeah,
oh.
but it's okay. Um, they
No, it
drag him
works.
safely aboard, and so
Yeah.
they can escape and
Oh, it's
stuff.
good phaser fight. I like the phaser fight.
Hmm.
You know what? And oh, this is one of my biggest problems with modern Star Trek is that the people on modern Star Trek always use two hands to fire a phaser, and one of the benefits of having a phaser is that you only need one hand.
You only need one hand.
Or yeah, right. That makes sense.
Well, I don't know. Do you have laser eyes or something, Jill? Are you like Geordi with like Borg implants or something?
Hmm.
So anyway, they go onto the shuttle and they head back, and this is another moment where John has a flashback to this isn't going as I expected, and Henry
Henry.
Archer says you can't be afraid of the wind, and it is a little bit of a Deep Space Nine vision kind of thing. Luckily, it never comes back again.
Yeah.
But Jonathan Archer does see T'Pol, but it does fade back
Hmm.
to this dream state. And so I think it is a bit of understanding between the two of them. And now, ladies and gentlemen, what we all came here for hardcore nudity.
Or as close.
Let's watch people rub each other.
And they do a
As
lot of
soon as
that.
as soon as this scene is over, I am going to the bathroom.
Yeah, they have some decon gel.
Yep.
Yes. How do you decontaminate, Jill?
Well, they were exposed. The excuse for them doing this is that they were exposed to a protocystian spore. So,
So
so
they
they've
have to
got
rub
to.
gel over
Yeah.
each other.
Right.
Yes,
These
they
two
have to.
incredibly fit individuals.
They.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's no way around it. They have to do this.
They must.
Yeah. It's mandatory.
Right.
It's for each other's health.
Exactly. With their
And
matted hair and their erect nipples.
well, that and also Paul says that
Like,
she's
how
taking.
cold was it? Is she actually having fun or is it cold?
Well, she's also saying she's taking command of the ship. That's also part of
Well,
it.
she must be excited. She's in a
Right.
sense of,
Yeah,
she's,
and
yeah,
Time for
it's
her.
tense. Hmm.
and
And so
Tucker
there's,
is saying, you must be proud that you're going to be able to end this mission while the captain's unconscious.
Mhm.
but also during this sexy time, the exposition is really important in terms of character development of T'Pol, and also the way that this still looks. If you go to the bottom right of your corner, no, go back one slide, Jill.
Well, which one?
Just back one. No, ahead
No,
one. No,
this one.
one more.
This
There it
one.
is. His
Yeah.
thumb looks like a penis.
Oh boy. Yeah. If you just take a quick glance, you're like, "What's going on here?"
Let's move on. There we are. She's very happy getting umox.
You mox.
Yeah, she gives it back too.
She does give it back. This is how we get
Mhm.
clicks, ladies and gentlemen. Sexy time. Anyway, they do come to a conclusion in terms of, are you loyal to Captain Archer or are you loyal to, like, do you think that the mission is lost or are you loyal to the captain who believes in the mission?
Exactly.
So, meanwhile, without boners, we
Yeah.
have Dr. Phlox, who has healed the phaser wound sustained on the cyberpunk planet,
Yeah, with this kind of leech-looking thing that
which
he's
is
put on his
cool.
leg.
I like that. I like that sort of um, that. Oh, I don't even know exobiology.
It gets to what one of my favorite parts of the episode when Archer realizes. So Archer thinks they're on the way home to Earth.
Yes,
Yeah.
this
He
is great.
okay, if T'Pol's in charge, then this mission's over. We're on our way. We should be arriving at Earth at any time. And he finds out that that's not the case.
No, she's tracking the Suliban vessel.
And it blows him away. And it starts to crack the veneer of what he thought all Vulcans were or are or about. It's funny because the scene right after this, he really starts to question his outlook. So to
Hmm.
speak.
And it also begins to build the teamwork between T'Pol and Tucker as they work together to modify the sensors.
Well, and also you know what? I never even thought of that. I was thinking about T'Pol and Archer, but you're absolutely right, Jill, in terms of T'Pol and Tucker working together to gain, like, to work as, like, I watching Enterprise, the trio, because there is a trio in every
Right.
Star Trek series. The trio in Enterprise is Archer, Trip, and T'Pol.
Yes. Yep.
And so this is really the blossoming of that trust. And I like it.
Me too.
Meanwhile, at the place where there is a Zephram Cockrum statue,
Yeah,
John
Archer's in
quarters.
his quarters. Mhm.
So he starts. He's making a log entry. and he keeps pausing the log entry to basically talk to Porthos and ask him, start questioning this whole, idea of T'Pol actually maybe not as I don't know what to say, rigid in her mission, or what he believes the Vulcan's mission is, uh, as he once thought.
Yeah,
So
have you ever known a Vulcan to return a favor?
yeah, have you? And so he starts questioning, this kind of thing, which I like. This is one of my favorite. Like I said, these two scenes are probably my favorite parts of this 2-part episode.
Oh, I need just a moment.
Sure.
Oh, you know what, Steve?
Yes.
Do you want to vamp for a second? Because I could totally use a Gelogia.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Can I take a break as well? If Jill's
Yep.
gone, can I?
Yep.
Okay. Have you? Well, do what you want.
Go ahead. Go ahead. We'll take a little pause while you guys do what you have to do.
Thank you. I appreciate the intermission.
Sure. So while those guys are away, I'll just do this. Next week we're going to start a new retro starring this guy who's on screen, Scott Bakula, and a show called In the Loop. In the Loop is Jill and Scotty are going to go through each episode of Quantum Leap, and that'll be every Thursday, I believe, at this time. So it'll be 5 o'clock Pacific and 8 o'clock Eastern. But I promised everybody that I'd give you a little sneak peek. So here you go. So there's the intro to our new show, In the Loop, a Quantum Leap retrospective. So I hope everybody will join us again next week for that.
Yes, that's going to be great.
Yeah, I think
I'm excited for that.
Forward to it. Scotty, while you were away, I played the intro. I promised everybody on our earlier show that we'd give them a little sneak peek. So we did that in our little intermission there.
I missed it.
Yeah, come and join Jill and Scott next week.
We'll play it again at the end, right?
We will, absolutely.
I've
Scotty,
seen it in the future, and I'll see it in the past. So anyway, in the ready room.
And so they're at the gas giant, the big orange planet. It's class 7.
Oh, this is so awesome. I really like the segmented space station that they have. Yeah. Or is this where that is? Or am I getting ahead of myself?
Yes, that's right. No, you're correct.
Okay.
It's coming up.
Okay.
It's coming up because they're trying to analyze this warp trail, the radiation from it.
Which I think is really cool.
Yeah, I think so too.
Like, it's solving problems in an astronomical Star Trek way.
Yeah, no, this is good stuff. And yeah.
Why is it?
But before we get to the space station, you're right. We were a little ahead. We have to talk to Future Man again.
I don't like Future Man. I actually, you know what? I have here. I'll show you.
I hate Future Man. Yeah. Yep.
Well, okay. So they know that they know that the Enterprise is looking for Kling. So, so Silic is telling him to destroy them, or whatever.
The only good thing about Future Guy is, like, he does say at one point Don't worry about when. And I'm
Right.
like, that's a cool line if you actually did anything.
Now, correct me
Spoilers, he never does anything.
correct me if I'm wrong, but we never find out who Future Man is during the series, right?
No.
Yeah, we don't.
Like
That
we get like Daniels. Isn't his name
Daniel's
Daniels?
that's fine.
So they
But I
get
don't think
through the
we.
cyclohexane layer,
Yes.
and then
Oh, and they're
there's
doing
another
such a
layer.
good. Like the crew working together are so amazing. Like this is one of the things that is missing from new Trek.
Absolutely.
Like
Problem
this
solving.
exactly. This is not emotional response. This is okay, we have to do this. Well, it's going to make it harder and it's like, yeah, that's our job.
Well, Rob has a good point when he says, "Listen, on the flagship of Starfleet, you're going to have the best of the best. You're not. They're
Right.
going to be competent people, best of the best that know how to do their jobs, and not going to sit there and barf their feelings all over you every time that they run into the slightest bit of adversity. They're going to rise to the occasion, execute, and get the job done, like every other show previous to Disco. I just don't understand where that comes from. I mean, I get it, but I don't know why we have to write it that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
These
they
people
didn't
have to
here.
work together to survive. And to do that, they have to be professional. And even when they do get snappy with each other, like when Hoshi tells T'Pol to go to hell, it's like they still continue with what they're doing.
Well,
They don't get
and
into
there's
a
so much
fight.
crying in disco. I you just don't see that. So there's no crying in baseball. There's no crying.
And
Right.
and so the good
And
news
that's
is
why I think Enterprise is better. So let's continue with the
it
episode
is.
instead
It
of complaining
absolutely
about the
is.
things that we don't have because we have this. And
We do.
this is
It's
one
a
of those things
to put
that
some stuff on the
looks
job. You know,
better based on the prism of Star Trek that we are being presented with now. Here's a guy
It really
who is
does.
doing his jobs in adversity, and here's a science officer who is being bigoted against for being
And
a Vulcan.
they
And
get hit
here,
by this particle weapon.
the particle weapon.
And
Are
they get
they're going to the lower deck to go and find the Klingon, right? We got to find Klang.
gotta find Clang.
yeah, they're in trouble with the bad guys, but they go back up to the phosphorus layer to get away from the bad guys, I guess.
Hmm.
And
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 Reed is happy.
the yeah,
There
he's
was
happy.
much rejoicing.
And the space dock that we just saw is comprised of 100 of these little ships all
I
put
thought that that
together.
was a, I thought that was really cool as an
Yeah,
idea.
they're like magnetically interlocked,
Hmm.
and they see that the bio readings in them are not Suliban, so they wonder if they're Klingon. So they're
Probably
going.
Gary.
It's probably Gary. Gary. And and here's our not our tractor beam because we don't have a tractor beam yet.
Oh, right.
And
Did I
so,
write that? I didn't write anything down about
The
the
grappling
but
hook.
tractor, the grappler.
but
Right.
it's great because that's another part of the theme of Enterprise with the technology not being as advanced. We
Yeah.
have a grappler hook. You know, these
Which is
little.
great. Don't you think that's great?
I think
Yeah.
it's great. Yeah, and so they use it to grab onto one of these ships, and
Mm,
the pilot occupying the ship, decides to eject upon being grappled.
Yeah.
hmm. Well, and but also
Never get taken alive.
like if I had to be a nitpicker, and I apologize for derailing and
Mhm.
adding minutes to this
We
program,
like picking nits.
but if you can transport matter, which they have already said that they can,
Yeah, right.
you don't have like directed magnetism.
And and that's a good point. Why don't they have tractor beams yet? Then that's
Like
a good question.
Like, isn't it like at a? I get it that they're trying to bridge between like literally now
I
and Star
think
Trek. Enterprise is supposed to happen between now
right.
and Star Trek. And
Yes.
so, like, there are things that they do to remind us it's still Star Trek, but there are things that they don't do to remind us that we're not quite at Star Trek.
Well, I think
And
even
the equation doesn't match up.
But having a contained system, right? Contained system to contained system is different from shooting a beam out of the nose of your ship.
I'm just saying, a tractor beam is magnets.
I
Wesley figured it out.
I don't I see that as a very far leap from one system to another.
You know, this whole story started because a Klingon was shot in the chest.
Yeah. Well,
Anyway, the realism of the situation is out the window.
shot him out of the sky.
No, I know that was awesome. So moving on, there is a lovely moment. What happened? What happened in the slides? I sort of just got here. Okay, so we have the thing that is going to blow up the space station with all the magnetic pods, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we also get our new weapons, the phase
Right.
pistols.
Face pistol.
They come in stun. You can set them to stun and kill. Please try not to get the two confused. Lovely moment. Absolutely adore it. If there is one toy gun that I don't have that I want, it is an Enterprise phase pistol.
Because they're pretty badass.
They are badass. They look like chunky Nerf
Yeah.
things.
And especially if you get them where you can pull the cartridge out and put it back in. That'd be dope. Oh, at the top.
That'd be great.
That'd be awesome. I don't know.
So anyway, and also let's not forget that Trip has been taught how to fly the dodecahedron,
Yes.
and
And
he
yeah,
doesn't know how. Sorry,
yeah, he did right. He doesn't know how. He has to wing it.
right? You know what? And don't knock human ingenuity. And I would give big thumbs up to Trip.
Big ups.
So they go back to the thing to do the thing. They're gonna go get Clang.
They dock on the space dock.
Well, and
Surprisingly.
also he bumps into a bunch of stuff too, so it's not like he's perfect.
Right.
He scratches
Uh,
more paint.
Definitely scratched.
More paint is scratched. And so anyway, they go into the darkness, and
what
And they stun a Suliban, so they're like, okay, these weapons work.
mhm.
And Hoshi hears something. She broadcasts it. And,
That's it. That's all you got for that.
well,
That's it.
well,
Hoshi hears
okay,
something
so-
and she broadcasts.
well,
it.
well, based on
That
to
wasn't
Paul-
descriptive at all.
well, okay. Then
What did Hoshi hear?
there's a big rock, a big bang rocks the ship. So something hits the ship. So T'Pol's like, let's move 5 kilometers that way, or well,
Right.
not in any way, just any direction.
Any direction. No, that's true. That's true. So anyway, we're
Yeah.
back here. Meanwhile, with Clang, they go and they rescue him, and they open up his restraints, and he starts causing shit
Yep.
because he's a Klingon. Beats the hell out of Trip, and I think it's John points the phaser at him and says, "Oi, prick, let's go."
Yeah,
I'm paraphrasing, obviously.
sounds right.
Happy Star Trek Day, everybody.
Happy
Anyway, so they go back to where they came from, but there's some reason that John can't go.
Yeah, he sets the magnetic unlocking device and then discovers how many pieces the structure is really made of when that happens.
Okay,
Yeah,
but then
pretty
Clang and Trip get back to the dodecahedron.
Actually, Kling saves Trip's life by picking up that Suliban and pretty
Oh
much.
yeah, he goes hand to hand with him. You're right.
Yep.
See, and again, unity. Klingons, Even at the very beginning, even before they were adversaries, Klingons were on the side of humans.
Well, let Klang knew that he was. Those two were his best way off of that ship or off of that station.
Oh,
So,
don't describe a Klingon like they were a Ferengi. A
no.
Klingon wouldn't. A Klingon would not rescue someone transactionally.
He knew
Right.
exactly how to get off of that ship, and it was going to or that station, and it was going to be those two humans.
And force fields activate to stop the atmosphere from escaping, and thousands of pods fall off a central space dock. So,
Yes.
then, the,
And then
yeah,
there's a bunch of CGI and there's yelling.
and yeah. Oh, Archer says, "Come back for me," right? And so Trip takes
No,
the.
Archer says, "Don't come back for me."
Well, he says, "Get Kling back to the Enterprise. You can
That's his
come back."
first. Yeah,
He says, "You
yeah.
can
You
come
can.
back for me."
Yes, my mistake. I'm sorry for interrupting.
It's okay.
I
Please
love
do.
the fucking scope. Okay, you know what? I love this scope when it shows up. And here's a thing that I noticed through the prism of 2022. If you can go back one slide, that is the framing of T'Pol. And if you want to say that she has been objectified in this episode in any way, I would like to say that this was the perfect opportunity for any producer or director to highlight her ass. And
Huh?
they didn't.
Yeah.
So
No.
this is a character, this is a Vulcan, this is absolutely legit. Like it's kind of like anyway, I think I've made my point.
Yeah.
You did great.
And those tricorders suck.
Because they're not they're bred. They're the first model.
But
What
it tells
is
them,
that?
but the tricorder does tell them that the charges are getting closer.
Okay.
That doesn't suck that bad, Scott. Yeah.
So that it works.
Better than my phone.
Anything's better than your phone.
I know. Still working on a Nokia.
Chucking it around.
I just
Mhm.
use it anyway. It doesn't matter. No
And
one cares. This isn't
yeah,
a tech
so
review. And
Ar-
this is where
Ar-
everyone decides to take acid.
yeah, Archer follows some strange readings and finds himself at the end of a corridor. Door
To-
closes behind him. There's strobing lights. Then a door in the front opens. As he walks in,
Oh
he
my
notices
God.
there's an echo effect
So what?
with his movements.
Okay. Just someone explain this scene to me.
Well, first,
Okay.
T'Pol wants to leave because they rescued the Klingon and they just can't get Archer. They've got to go because another rescue attempt could jeopardize their mission of rescuing the Klingon. And Tucker's like, the captain told us to come back from him, and it's just another one of those Vulcan versus human moments.
Yep.
And be logical. And, yeah. And then Tucker's like, well, remember, we just saved you back on that other planet, the Rigel. And T'Pol calls him out on being specious.
Hmm. Which he is.
And then
Why do
that's
you
when we
get
get
pictures
into
of everyone when they're about to say fuck?
I was just gonna say.
Go back one. Go back one. She looks like she's about to say fuck.
Okay, if you say so.
Anyway,
At this
meanwhile,
point, I was taking the slides as quickly as I could.
no, and I appreciate it. You know what? This show would be nothing without the slides.
Right, because I would have forgot what else happened.
Right.
Exactly. I have no idea. It really becomes more forgettable the more you watch it.
Yeah, Silic is talking to Archer off screen, not really showing his face yet.
Oh my god! But what is this?
Saying-
What are they
saying
doing?
Nothing. Well, he's trying to tell him, don't fire your weapon in this room, and Archer's like, what's going on? Why am I tripping?
Yeah.
and Silic knows his name, but why he knows his name, they don't say.
Nope.
Um, he knows a
Does
great
any
deal
of this
about
make
him.
sense?
The
He
mystery
knows
wrapped in
he
a
knows
riddle inside an enigma.
he knows things, but we don't know why he knows things.
Yep.
Uh,
You know what? This is the first time that the mystery box failed.
well, yeah.
This is the first time that they were like, we'll put a mystery in and we'll solve it along the way. Did they? No,
No.
not at all.
No, he knocks
Future
Archer down.
guys, Suliban, who are they? What are that?
Yeah, Silic knocks Archer down and takes his phase pistol
Yes.
and
Oh, and
and
you know what? I like this. I like this little bit where there was a pre laser before the phaser.
yeah, he fires the phase pistol, but the beam is so slow that Archer avoids it. He's able to leap out of the way,
Well, he's
and then
tripping balls, yo.
and instead it hits the wall, and the shockwave knocks Silic down instead. So it
Which is
knocks.
like, what are you doing?
I don't know.
Like,
Tripping
what is.
ball.
I can't explain it.
So did. No, I'm not. Well, I want someone, Jill, if it's not you, I just want someone. Just someone explain. I don't get it. I've looked over Wikipedias. I've been on Memory Alpha. I've tried to find out who this future guy is. What does who changed the Suliban? Someone knows who changed the Sul. Let's move forward.
So I always thought it might be the Section 31 guy that Reed always goes to, but I can't remember.
I
that
don't. If I have to mix the Suliban with Section 31, I
guy.
think I
Like,
may hang
that
myself.
makes sense to me in some weird way.
Then you're weirder than I am.
Yeah, I know.
Anyway, Travis, what's going on?
Well, they're trying to they're I guess I don't know. I actually don't know what's going on the bridge either. But I
Okay,
guess
so skip to the next
they're
slide and
trying
we'll
to
figure it out.
dock. They're trying to dock. They're trying. T'Pol is trying to save Archer after all, so that's great.
That's nice. That's nice of her.
Right. Hmm.
And then there's wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, right. I forgot about this. This was actually a really cool special effect because this hand flips over and
Over.
grabs the phase pistol. And it was really cool. But then for some reason, he gets like a leg lock and then busts his face or something. And then he's running out of the place that is going to explode. And they use the previously thought to be primitive transporter, only capable of cargo. And it's the only opportunity that they have to save Jonathan Archer. And they beam him up at the end of the first episode of Star Trek Enterprise, proving that transporters will someday be a thing.
Well, actually, they say that it's safe for humans, but that even the captain
No one
won't
Yeah.
even let his dog use it.
Right.
Yeah. Well, everyone's Dr. McCoy at this point.
Basically, yes.
We actually get to meet later in the series. We get to meet the inventor of the transporter.
Oh, Emery something or other.
Yeah, Emery. What was his name?
Fantastic episode. Fantastic
And then
episode.
they
Anyway,
go to Kronos.
now we are on Kling.
Oh.
This we have. Well, come on. Remember that episode of Star Trek: The Next Generation when they refer to the Klingon homeworld as Kling? Sometimes it's
Yeah.
kind of fun. It's kind of fun to refer to Kronos as Kling. It's almost racist, but anyway, we bring Klang back to Kling.
To the Klingon High Council chamber.
Yes, yes.
Yep.
They are a
Mhm.
big
The
fan
door
of fire.
opens to reveal Kling with Archer, T'Pol, and Hoshi.
Absolutely. I would love to know what he said with subtitles.
Well, the Chancellor walks up to Kling, and he draws a knife and cuts his palm, so he needs some blood.
Hmm.
And an aide catches the blood in a vial and goes over to a machine to call up a magnified image on the screen. There's DNA strands with computer-styled data. So,
And they zoom in to the DNA and they find one particular something or other in the medical places, and it's got all the information that they wanted about whatever the message was that was being transported. Do you know what the message was?
No. Where's the
Right.
message? I don't see it here.
Well, no, I don't know, but you know what? This is first contact between humans and Klingons,
Does anybody in the
ostensibly.
chat know what the message was?
It's a cookbook.
Are there people in the chat? That's incredible. So yeah, so we're back aboard the Enterprise, and I guess we're headed back to Earth, aren't we?
Yeah, they got a message from Admiral Forrest, and he enjoyed telling the Vulcan High Command about the Suliban. You know, I guess.
Because
I
they're
don't know what's
great.
so enjoyable about that. That's
I
not
don't
that
know.
enjoyable.
It's interstellar intelligence. It's like whatever.
Hmm.
We
And
figured something out.
and they're talking about how they're going to continue their mission. Their mission is not over, and so Doctor Phlox is going to stick around, and
Yeah.
and so will T'Pol.
Well, no, go back one. Go back one.
Okay.
So okay. So here is a capable uh, Chad of a woman who will be able to take care of any problem that you need help with, but she will not take any shit. All right? So move to the next slide, if you will. Hi, I'm a football player who needs your help.
Yeah. Um, he says, if I'm going to pull this off, there are a few things I have to leave behind. Things like preconceptions, holding grudges. This mission would have failed without your help.
And that is, you know what? And this is not only, and I'm not saying this because of my, mangina, but like I'm saying this because this is important, not just between, this is a bridging of ideologies, species,
Yes,
cultures. Like this is not a man bowing to a woman or anything. This is
of course not.
bigger than that.
Well, no, because I mean, they both have misconceptions about each other still.
Oh
You
yeah.
know what I mean? There's still these kind of built-in bigotries on both sides, on all sides. That's really rich, and it's great the way they explore not only in this episode but throughout the series.
I
Uh,
don't like the way that she eats her breadsticks with a knife and fork.
right?
Yeah, and
So,
Archer sees the value in what in T'Pol and how she can be helpful.
in the
And
infinite diversity of infinite combinations,
mhm. And so she's going to be the science officer and the first officer.
which, yeah, totes, which is
It's great.
awesome.
It is great. I love it too.
Anyway,
And she's going
the only
to
thing is that she's not very attractive.
Yeah, that's
in
something you're just gonna
what
have.
universe?
Uh,
It might be best if I were to contact my superiors and make the request myself. So she's going to ask
yeah,
the Vulcans if she can play.
but I like the interplay negotiation of that, and then also I enjoy this as well. This is the final flashback, and I think this is the last time. I'm not sure that you actually see Henry Archer, Harry
Yeah,
Archer.
I don't think he comes back up during the series again.
Yeah. So
Um,
yeah, eventually young Archer knows how to fly his model
Yeah,
and
straight and
that would
true.
don't be afraid of the wind.
yep.
Yes, that's what he says here.
Yeah,
Because
because of
Travis
an
said,
ion storm.
yes. Should I go around it? We can't be afraid of the wind, Ensign. And they go to warp 4, and we're ready for Enterprise to begin.
Yay!
And that was Broken Boo. Okay, so let's just get this out of the way right now.
Yeah.
What would you
Okay.
rate it on, and A to F?
I give it a B. It's a B. It was fantastic characterization. I really feel connected with the characters, and everything looked really cool. Maybe the story with the future people and the Suliban wasn't that interesting or well explained, and we didn't get to figure out what the message even was. The Klingon was cool, but there were some
Tiny
parts of the
Lister.
episode. There's some parts of the episode that just were missing pieces, and so I can't give it an A for that.
Steve?
C plus. Just for the fact that there are way better
That
episodes.
is my favorite orange drink.
Yeah, C plus.
Mm.
Um, yeah, just because there's way better episodes in later seasons.
Oh no, but I'm just gauging it against like pilots,
Yeah,
premieres.
I'm just judging it on
Oh, yeah.
by
So yeah, still as a premiere, I think it could have been stronger. It's a good 2 episodes. It's not the best Star Trek has put out in a 2 episode, even premiere. I think so, but it's a solid C plus B minus right in
that's
that
fair.
range.
Yeah, I give it a B plus.
Really?
I feel bad about it. I feel bad about it because I'm thinking of the other series, and
Hmm.
but B, like as a premiere, like I think it's better than.
Encounter at Farpoint.
I like
Yeah,
Encounter
for
at Farpoint.
sure.
It
I
is.
can't.
Yeah.
You know what? I will start a Groppler Zorn fan site.
I actually
I
give
l-
Encounter at Farpoint an A minus.
oh, Encountered Farpoint is a C plus at best.
Yeah, that's where I put it. So this is I would put this above Encounter at Farpoint. I wouldn't put it above. I can't remember the pilot of Deep Space Nine, which I loved. I thought that was
Oh
great.
no, it's not better than Deep Space Nine. It's not better than Emissary.
No,
Yeah, but Encounter at Farpoint has Dr. McCoy in it, and Q is established.
and
I
I
love the
think it might
teamwork
be
and
better
stuff.
than Voyager's pilot too. But it's been a while since I watched that one.
And okay, and you know what? And it's an interesting point. There are things in Encountered Farpoint that do hold a place in my heart, but there's a more intellectual factor in watching Enterprise simply because you have to extrapolate. And you know what? I'm going to stop using words that I don't know what they mean. But you have to look at Enterprise and be like, okay, remember everything that you know about Star Trek? That hasn't happened yet. And
Right.
as a Star
True.
Trek fan, I am aware of temporal differential. Like I can switch up my brackets. So
Absolutely. I agree.
uh, like when I watch Enterprise, it's like, oh no, we don't want to use the. Why don't you want to use the transporter? Well, because it's horribly unsafe,
Mhm.
untested, and wrong. And it's like, oh wow. Like they use shuttle pods so much during Enterprise. They do it as much as they do in the Orville.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
it's their
Right.
main mode of transportation. Besides the NX-01 herself. So I mean, that's how they get to places. I liked it. I think the kind of I don't know if you want to call it a dumbed down, but technologically dumbed down. Because they just weren't there yet. They're still trying to figure it all out. Dig it.
Yeah, I do like that
Jill,
aspect of Enterprise too. Yes.
now that we have graded, finished, and anything, would you like to stick around for the chat, or do you have other things to do with the circus monkeys that are going on in your living room?
Well, I could take care of the monkeys and then come back while you're doing the chat.
Sounds good.
So, while
Okay.
you're reading the chat, rather, I'll be right
Yeah.
back.
Okay, cool. Take your time, pop in and out as you may. Steve, well, may we?
Yes, we may.
Excellent. Who do we have on? Stephen Ransom, back again. Love you, sir. Just passing through, same stream time and all that jazz. Pop culture curator. Hello, guys. Thank you so much for being
Howdy.
here. And don't forget to check out Pop Culture Curator's channel on Monday night. We're going to be watching more Tribbles from the animated series. Edge of Time, ahoy, Edge of Time.
Oh,
It is always lovely to see you when we're not playing Risk, Pop Culture Curator says. If the third season was so good, it wouldn't be the last. Which one in reference to?
I'm not sure.
Several seasons, Pop Culture.
Because I wonder, but I wonder if what he meant was if the last season of Enterprise. Maybe that's what he meant. That if
I'm not
if
sure.
the last season was so good, it wouldn't be the last. No, absolutely, because they canceled it before it aired.
Well, there were 4 seasons of Enterprise.
Yeah, and the last season was canceled before that they even aired. So,
Yeah. Well,
and that's not how they just did. That's not how they did TV back then, anyways.
uh,
Burned for more than 5 years. Burned.
oh, and I'm missing the frame of reference.
I'm not sure.
Sorry for interrupting. I didn't know you guys don't read the chat. Oh no, we do. We just wait till the end. We apologize. We have an overwhelming amount of volume right now, so we get to it when we can.
I don't apologize for shit. No,
I do, but I do it badly.
the way we format, we don't stream. We actually do shows, and so we do the show up front, and then we tackle the chat at the end, and we usually go through most of the chats. Some of the crosstalk we skip over, but we try to answer a bunch of questions in the chat.
We do enjoy everyone who's in the chat, and please feel
Absolutely.
free to cross chat. But we're doing a thing, and then we want to hear from you afterwards, of course. But no, we don't. In the middle of it, we're doing something. Sorry.
Take care, guys.
Gundel. Bring back Star Trek Phase 2. You know what? I don't want to see Zahn. Forget Zahn. I'd like to see more Ilea.
What was Phase 2?
Star Trek Phase 2 was the initial concept before they turned it into Star Trek the Motion Picture. They were going to bring it back to network television. Everyone was going to be back except for Leonard Nimoy. He was going to be replaced by some guy named Guthrow, I think. Anyway, it's a long story. There's a whole book.
Right on.
Son of a Red Shirt is here. Phantasmagoric. At the Phantasmagorium show and at Antiderivative Jill. All the super cool Trekkies here tonight. Ola, Kapla, and Cheers. Can't stay, just wanted to drop by and say hi, leave a comment. It's Bogart night on Turner Classic Movies.
Nice.
Son of a Red Shirt, be my girlfriend.
Son of a Red Shirt goes on to say, but have a great show. We will, and you are forgiven. Bogart night on TCM sounds absolutely divine.
And Jill says thanks. And Edge of Time laughs heartily. Edge of Time also has frogs and cakes. And Stephen Ransom says, hello with the wavy waves to Trekkers. Happy Trek Day.
I love this next one from Stephen Ransom. I ship Tuck Paul.
Oh my God, it's my number one rule 34.
The Tuck Paul is awesome.
Oh yeah, Trip Hall. Steve Vamp. This is when we all had to go pee.
Yeah. Indeed. Awesome. Love the procedural stuff. Me too. Yeah, I do too.
I've said it before and I'll say it again now, is that like Star Trek is a morality play coupled with a workplace procedural.
Yeah.
Or workplace drama. It's Law and Order with an aura.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. If people aren't doing their jobs, then it sucks.
interlinked. I'm not sure what that was a reference to, but
I think it's a Blade Runner 2049 reference, but I don't really remember it. That
grappling hook.
grappling hook is old school.
Hell yeah, little
I
crossbow.
like, you know what, and I'm fine with it. I just think that if you can do have a transporter, you should have like a magnet beam instead of having to use like Doctor Octopus tentacles.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, Stephen Ransom goes on to say, "Love the heft of the phasers, well made
Yeah,
prop." Yeah.
totally.
Oh,
And like Scotty pointed out, this is one of the only Star Trek series where they start out and stay true to phasers with one hand. Although to be
yeah.
super accurate with their phase pistols, they actually sometimes they do use two hands, which is the right way to do that. There you go.
Love it.
One hand, one hand. Riker used the one hand. Riker was a,
Everyone used the one hand until we got to 2009. Then they started handling it like it was a gat.
crosstalk.
Hoy, Stephen Ransom says at your time. And hey, bird of prey, kapla,
Oh,
and a happy Trek day to you, my
Kapla
friend.
to Bird of Prey 5.
I can't believe
Happy
he's here.
Happy Star Trek Day to Bird of Prey.
Yay. Stephen Ransom says, I have such a crush on Hoshi. Love that she gets terrified and has to get past her fear. Good writing. Oh my stars. Like Hoshi at the end of the Zindi War thing,
wow. Yeah.
it's insane the amount of shit. Like she goes like
Yeah.
Hoshi is the O'Brien of Enterprise.
Yeah. And then
She gets
in
beat
America
up.
Darkly, when she just outplays, outmaneuvers everybody, and plus she's sexy as hell in that. And that, I mean, all of the crew is sexy as hell in those two episodes. Those are great episodes, by the way.
Like, oh wow. Yeah. Hoshi's great. And Hoshi hears something. She always
Yeah,
does.
always.
She always does. Uh, Stephen Ransom goes on. Oh, this is a technical issue. Maybe Jill, you have a response. The Enterprise tricorder has a bigger screen than Kirk's tricorder.
Yeah, I don't have an answer for that. And it doesn't. There's a problem with some of the technology on Enterprise looking more modern than a series that was made in the 60s.
You know, there weren't enough colored buttons.
Hmm.
Right.
Stephen Ransom goes on to say, I thought the set designs were great. The alien equipment looks alien. It does.
Yep, I'm right there with you.
And the thing with Enterprise is they didn't add the Star Trek to the Enterprise show name until much later. So it was just Enterprise. So people were wondering, is this an alternate universe?
Right.
I can't wait until season whatever of For All Mankind, and
Mhm.
When it
it'll be
links up,
unveiled, and they say Star Trek for All Mankind.
I don't think they can do that.
I don't think so. I think that there's licensing rights and
Spiritual.
stuff.
I believe that Ronald D. Moore has more of a right to Star Trek than the current
Okay.
holders of the name.
I agree. I agree with that.
I agree with you, but you're so adamant.
Stephen Ransom says, "Emergency beam out." Got chills when they did that. Cool track moment. Yes,
It
absolutely.
was a really cool Trek moment when he comes out, and even when it's like we had no choice, like Trip says to him, like we didn't have any other choice, and
Right.
then Archer checks himself, and he's like,
Am I all still here?
exactly. I thought
But
that was so funny.
but we don't get a scene later with Phlox checking him out to see if he's okay, because like if there should have been like some molecules that were slightly off or something. But I
Your
guess
molecules
maybe
are slightly off.
well, that's how I know to ask.
Right.
Of course. Of course. Hoshi had, Stephen Ransom continues, how Hoshi has the words. She can cling with the clangs.
Yes, she can.
Yes, we are live.
And we are live.
Stephen Ransom says, T'Pol says, look at my lips. Well, yeah. Like when I said I found her completely fugly, I was joking.
Oh yeah, I know you did.
Yeah. Uh, Scotty making the serious notes, knife and fork for breadsticks. Come on.
Yeah.
With enough discipline, anything is possible. Woot! We did it. Thank you for the firelink clap.
And last one.
Is Jill streaming from a schoolyard? Yes, my children were screaming. This is true. They are now no longer screaming.
Oh no, don't say it like that. It sounds ominous.
All right, so I think that will do it for us tonight. We're at about 2 hours and 15 minutes. It was a long one, but it was to be fair, it's a 2 episode premiere,
Yeah.
which is about an hour and a half of actual TV time. I think real close
Well,
to
It was an hour and 46 minutes.
yeah, something like that. It's
Or 26 minutes, rather.
26.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's a good long one.
we are a special feature for a DVD.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm so glad that we got to get together and talk about the first episode of Quantum Leap
Stephen Ransom
on Star Trek Day.
The show came out too. I was too. I thought it was going to be good, and I was I liked it through to the chagrin of some of my friends who couldn't stand it or didn't like it. Didn't like the fact that we went.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but do you know when it came out?
I'm sorry.
Do you know when it came out?
When what came out?
Enterprise.
2001.
2001.
Yeah, it was like the first television show to premiere after
9/11.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
this year, Enterprise is 21 years old, so Enterprise can now drink.
Yay!
Birthday.
Sorry and Brandy.
Surian Brandy. Jonathan Brandywine. All right, let's see. A couple more late ones. Just Stephen Ransom ranting stuff.
Oh, what the? Oh my
Seasons.
stars!
Loved. Yeah, we got it.
Why don't you
Okay.
just ask Ziggy if we can leap?
What? So I think that'll do it for us tonight. We want to go kind of around the horn and plug anything we want to plug and let everybody.
There's
know
only
where we're
one thing I want to plug, and that is next. And Jill, maybe I'm speaking for you, but there's only one thing I want to plug. Unless you have anything that you want to plug, because I don't want to be overbearing.
I want to hear the end of the sentence.
I was just gonna say, why don't we just play the Quantum Leap show intro and get
Oh,
out of
well,
here?
we could do that. But also tomorrow I'll be having a broadcast, my Pomic Tea Time tomorrow morning, and we're going to have some fun at 11 a.m.
What are you talking about on that show?
We're going to be talking about the Voyager episode Tuvix, and also a couple of the Lower Drex episodes. I'm going to go ahead and watch those and see what I think. And we'll
Okay.
talk about that too.
Okay.
It'll
So
be
make
fun.
sure you tune in tomorrow.
Yes.
And that's
at
on
my
the
channel.
Antiderivative Jill channel. Yes.
And then I guess we'll probably catch Scotty on Sunday night, Monday morning.
Monday morning, Mondays and tribulations. I will have something else to complain about. Yes.
Next Wednesday, we will be back with our Django Unchained with our Quentin Tarantino retrospective.
Oh yeah, that would be
Dude.
great.
First things first, the D is silent, and also on Monday I'll be over on Pop Culture Curator.
Depends what part of the South you're from.
I'll be on Pop Culture Curator talking about More Troubles, More Tribbles. And then on Tuesday, on Jill's channel, we'll be talking about Enemy Within.
Yes, correct.
I am Captain Kirk. And then we're going to be going to Django Unchained.
Unchained.
And then next
The D is
Thursday.
silent.
Django.
Shut up. I have a stutter. And then next Thursday, I guess we are going to meet Sam Beckett and Al Calavici.
Now, we're doing Genesis Part 1 and 2, or just the first one?
Hang on. No, we're going to do the same thing as tonight. We're going to
Yeah.
do first episode is a two-parter. Hang on.
Ada.
Yeah, we're going to put the two-parter together.
Perfect. So don't forget to come back. Same time on
Yes.
next Thursday at 7 Central.
Yes, I'd appreciate the same time, 7 p.m. Central next Thursday. And also after this stream, if you have nowhere to go to Clobber Times channel. He's celebrating Star Trek Day right now with Raquel Briggs and Mark D with the C on Clobber Times, their Clobby's Clubhouse.
Absolutely. And also check them out on Saturday nights as well. They're doing an excellent Deep Space Nine retrospective.
Awesome.
Anyway, so are we done promoting things?
I think we're done. So for Antiderivative,
yes, Captain.
Scotty R37, I'm Steve Foley. Have a great day, everybody.